started on some opinion writing tips, and keep in mind that these are all Common Core based off of the Common Core standards. So your state specifically may be a little bit different, but I think for the most part, opinion writing is opinion writing. There might be a couple things that are required for each grade level that are different, but for the most part, you're having your kids state their opinion and support their opinion and structure it in a way where it's in an opinion writing framework. So we're going to talk, since I just said all about Common Core, we're going to introduce what Common Core expects, and then it might be different for your state standards, but for the most part, opinion writing is what it is, where the students have to introduce the topic, and then they're going to state their firm opinion, and they're going to give their reasons, and then they're going to provide a closure. So it's pretty much introduction, opinion, reason, conclusion, and that varies for different grades. So I think in kindergarten, all they have to do is listen to a story, I believe, and then state their opinion on that story. Now, although that is all that is expected of them, I do suggest branching off of that a little bit more and having kindergartners state their opinion on a topic or a subject or a thing, and being able to provide a reason for that. So although Common Core does suggest, I just pulled it up now, they suggest to read a book, and they have to compose their opinion piece and state their opinion about that book or topic. So yes, they are discussing their opinion on topics as well. But then once you branch into first grade, you're going to follow more of a framework where you've got your introduction, opinion, your support, and your conclusion. And then of course, when you get into like third and fourth grade, you're having to do specific things for each, like in your reason, you have to have this and this, and in your opinion, you have to have this. So it does get more in depth with each grade level, which is one benefit to using Common Core for your entire school, because each grade does build upon the prior year's grade or the prior grade's content. So once you gather up what your students need to do, then you can dive into your opinion writing unit. And the first thing that I think you need to do when you are setting up your opinion writing unit, and this is going to happen prior, is to load up on mentor text. So during your opinion writing unit, might be 2 weeks, might be 3 weeks, might be 4 weeks, I would suggest having a daily mentor text. Now you can recycle and reuse and even break apart mentor text like over the course of 3 days if you're just trying to use one mentor text to show introduction and using that same mentor text the next day to show conclusion. But I would suggest trying to maybe get a collection of 10 strong books that appropriately show students the main character trying to get across their opinion with strong support. So you're going to want to find books that have strong introductions, strong opinions, strong reasons, and then a strong conclusion. Now, in the blog post that I link in the description, I do have links to books that I suggest, and there are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. There's 12 books that I suggest that are strong for opinion writing. That's in the link. The mentor texts that I suggest all have kid-friendly language, but they also prove an opinion very well. So the main character or the narrator has very strong reasons for what they believe in, and they're all the ones that I suggest are all very kid-friendly and very easy for them to understand, and they all follow a framework that introduces this Common Core framework very easily for the students. So I would suggest at the beginning of your unit, maybe stocking up on the books from Amazon or going to the library and stocking up, but having that stack of 10 to 15 books that you can use throughout your opinion writing unit and using those. And I do suggest having a good amount of them so you can have at least one a day. But like I said, you can stretch it out over the course of several days as well. So for example, if you wanted to do I Wanna Iguana, you could use I Wanna Iguana when you're teaching the students how to introduce a topic. And then you can bring that book back a couple days later and use it again to show kids how to support their opinion with multiple reasons. So you can recycle these books, but I do suggest having a big stack ready to go throughout. So the first thing that you're going to do once you prep and get all your mentor texts ready is you're going to start by simply teaching what an opinion is. So this is going to be more for your K1, even second grade students, where you're teaching them what an opinion is and how it's different from a fact. So taking a couple days to practice identifying opinions versus identifying facts. And then one way to do that is to give students a topic or a picture card, and they have to come up with their own opinion on that topic. So instead of diving right into having kids write an opinion on something, you can have them verbally play games where they're identifying their opinion on a picture or a book or a task card or something. So one thing that you can do is to provide stems for the students at the very beginning so that they can practice verbally creating opinions using these stems. So for example, if you give them these opinion stems on the board and you or under your document camera or something, and then you tell them a topic and you have them do like a mixed pair share activity or a partner activity, and you say, okay, share with your partner how you feel or what your opinion is about broccoli. And then they have to look through those opinion stems so that they can create an opinion sentence about the topic. And having these over and over practices where they're just simply stating their opinion on different topics is going to make it easier for them when they are sitting down with a pencil and paper and they have to come up with something. So giving them lots of hands-on practice with activities and games prior to writing is very important. And then once you branch into third and fourth grade, you're not going to have to spend as much time teaching the difference between fact and opinion, but I do still think it's beneficial for those grade levels to come up with opinions on certain topics. So I know I think in my third and fourth grade opinion writing unit, I have like hot topics like technology in schools, one-to-one iPads, uniforms, things that they probably have a strong opinion about that they can talk about, where it's not relating to a book that they're reading or a piece that they're having to write, whereas it's just a conversation piece to practice those opinions. And then, of course, when they're still working on that, you need to spend time creating strong opinions and giving them the opportunity to see the difference between a strong opinion and a weak opinion. And this is very important in K1 and 2 because opinion writing is going to be very new to them. Third and fourth grade gets a little bit more in depth where they've practiced it. They've done this for a couple of years, but kids still need that practice to create a strong opinion and to be able to differentiate between a strong opinion and a weak opinion. Now, one example is to give them like a game where they have to find examples and non-examples of strong opinions. And for them to be able to hands-on see these different examples and sort them between what's strong and what's weak, that's giving them constant reminders about what they should not be using in the future when they're writing. And giving them weak examples is giving them a way to see that this would not be an acceptable answer when I have to create my own product. So it's another way to give students hands-on practice without having them dive right into writing. So strong opinions would be something simple as, in my opinion, water is beneficial, versus a weak opinion where they say water's cool. They need to be able to split those differences in ways that they can recognize that this would be acceptable in a piece that I'm writing versus something that might be a little bit too weak for a strong writing piece. So once you guys practice a couple days with simply introducing what opinions are and what a strong opinion is, then you can start outlining the structure of what is going to be expected of them. And I think it's very important at the beginning of an opinion writing unit to show students, even kindergartners, that this is the framework of how you're going to write your story or your text. So you're going to show them everything that goes into it instead of them diving right into, okay, let's write an introduction, or if diving right into write your opinion and give me 3 reasons. That you're going to give them an outline of what's expected of them, so that once they are writing their opinion piece, they know that each point or each piece of the writing piece has a purpose and that they won't leave that out. So one activity that they can do is like a mix-up game where they're in the classroom and you're going to have them, after you've introduced all the pieces and the framework that goes into an opinion piece, you're going to have them kind of discuss with a partner why they need that. So you're going to ask them why it's important to conclude your story, or you're going to ask them why they need to introduce their topic and why they need to support their opinion with reasons. So it's very important when you are teaching your opinion writing unit that you're not simply saying, okay, day 1, let's write how we feel about school buses. So you're giving them this like scaffolded practice where they're working on building up their knowledge about opinion writing as opposed to just simply diving in and getting started. So once you've created a space where they are comfortable with opinions and stating their opinions, then is when it's time to start pulling in how to support. And support can be a more difficult piece for opinion writing because students, it's hard for them to verbalize why they think something. So this requires a lot more than just a writing skill and a writing practice. I mean, you can practice writing 100 times in a day, and you're still going to have this hard piece that is difficult for the students because having them verbalize why and giving those reasons to support is difficult for the students. So you're going to have them practicing as much as you can throughout this unit so that they get used to being able to support their reason, having lots of conversations with the students, having them in small groups with other students talking about something and expressing their opinions and their feelings about something. So like I was saying before, all grades except for kindergarten, they have, and I'm going to double check that, but 1st through 4th, they have to be able to supply a reason for their opinion. And they don't have to do it in kindergarten, but I don't think it's a bad idea not to introduce that in kindergarten, but it is not required. But always asking the students why and asking them to prove their thoughts with their words is very important. So that's a lot of modeling is going to be required of that, a lot of mentor text as well, because that's definitely a harder skill for them. And then you can start moving on to introductions and conclusions. So I know you kind of are teaching them out of order, and you would think, well, first I need to teach an introduction and then I need to teach an opinion. But I think you need to teach it out of order because it's very important for the students to be able to master, here's my opinion, here's a reason, and then going back and focusing on the framework of opinion writing. So once they are practicing and practicing and practicing opinions and reasons, then you can start focusing on the framework of a full writing piece. So you're going to move on to introductions, and when you're doing introductions, you're teaching them a hook. And there's lots of different ways that you can teach hooks, and there's lots of different types and examples that you can use. I would say that you need to let them practice introductions outside of just asking them to write an introduction. So like I've been talking about in the last couple of minutes, where the students need to have hands-on activities and partner games and discussion topics for introductions. And one thing I like practicing with students is giving them examples. So in the game that I just pulled up here, the students will have a picture card, which is your topic. So we'll go with the middle one, and it's going camping. And then on the right-hand side, you see the opinions. So the opinion of the camping is, when I go camping, I prefer to set up my own tent just the way I like it. So that is the person's or the narrator's opinion on camping. So the students can find those very easily. They know their opinions because they've been practicing them for the week, and then they know their topic because they've been practicing opinions. But now we need to back up and teach them how to introduce that topic. What kind of hook can they use? So in this example, they used a question to hook their audience. So they said, do you know that even young children can pitch their own tent? So they're introducing the topic of tents so that then they can lead their readers into their opinion. So this is just one game where they can play a little matching game, and they can discuss with their partners at the same time to be able to prove and discuss and get really comfortable with different types of introductions and like different ways that they can phrase something, so that they're not just saying, I'm going to talk today about grass. They're coming up with more creative solutions or more creative introductions and better ways to hook their reader. And you can start this very young. In KN1, you might need to give them more stems, where you're going to say, okay, today we're going to practice everybody make a question for your introduction. So if the students are writing their opinion on the best lunch food, you can have everybody ask a question about lunch food, and that can be their practice hook for the day. So it's definitely something I would suggest scaffolding and slowly releasing control and independence for them, or dependence on you, and giving them lots of ways to see it written and to see it in mentor text and examples and activities like the one you see in the picture. And then once you spend a good amount of time introducing your introductions, then you can start working on conclusions. So you're going to have specific lessons only on conclusions. So you're not going to just sit down and have the students write an opinion piece and teach them as they go. Instead, you're going to teach them, these are opinions, these are introductions, and here's a conclusion. And you're giving them all of these ideas on how to write a conclusion, how to wrap up their paper. And it is hard to do the conclusions for students because a lot of them just want to say, like, this is how I feel about sunny days. So giving them examples of ways that they can conclude their writing piece is important. Give them lots of concrete examples, like I was saying, with hands-on activities, and then mentor text. So shifting back into conclusion talk, this is my last slide on conclusions. This flip book is just an example of one way that you can practice opinion writing and conclusion writing without having them do this full-blown unit on opinion writing. So this flip book, they open up the tab and they write an example of each of the different ways that they can conclude. And like I was saying with introductions before, it's just a way for them to see different types of introductions and conclusions and constantly have these strong introductions and conclusions in their mind. So I have two more slides, and kind of what I kind of goes back to Jennifer's question. And my suggestion is to make this a daily part of your ELA block. So you're going to have your mini lesson because you have to teach the students their new skills, but then during their groups, you'll have writing be one of their groups. And what I would suggest is maybe after teaching them a new skill, maybe Monday, Tuesday, you're going to have them doing partner games that practice these skills where they're not necessarily writing and practicing their writing, but they're practicing things about opinion writing. They're going to have maybe Monday, Tuesday be like a partner game where they're matching and writing their answers. And then Wednesday, Thursday, they can start on creating their opinion on something and coming up with reasons. And then Friday, they can start working on their introduction. So I would suggest breaking it apart and then even working on a few prompts a week where they have more of like a free writing activity. So you're going to be, during your writing time, you're not only going to be doing Common Core ELA all the time, you're going to try to give them opportunities to just write and just practice the art of just getting things on piece of paper. So it's not just going to be, okay, today we're going to practice Common Core for the rest of the year. You're going to work in days where they can just practice writing. They can practice hands-on activities where they're matching and doing flip books and stuff where it's all related and practicing to writing. And then once they can finally get to their final writing piece, then you can break it up, like I was saying, over the course of a couple days. So you don't necessarily have to have a half hour or 45 minutes for writing every single day because you probably don't have that time to spare. But if you're able to still hit it every single day, but breaking it up into more manageable, timely pieces, I would suggest that so that your students always have it fresh in their minds and you're able to tackle these big, most schools require having like an opinion piece, a narrative piece, and an informative piece at the end of the year. So with these units, you can, or at the end of your opinion writing unit, you can have 1 or 2 or 3 to pull from because you're having the students do it every single day and you're not having to take out any time because it's already worked into your ELA block. This is just an example of some of the writing prompts that you can put into your rotation for the week where you're giving them these more engaging topics that they might find more interesting and then have them do like a free write in their journal, or you can use these prompts to do like a full-blown opinion writing piece. So it just depends on what you're asking of them and just getting them kind of built up to a full opinion writing piece. And like I was saying, I do suggest having your opinion writing piece be 3 or 4 weeks. It can take a while because if you break it up in the way where you're teaching them, all these pieces broken up over the course of a week, it can build up and take 3 to 4 weeks to get everything that's expected of them into opinion writing. So that was my last slide for opinion writing. Thanks again, guys.